Mr. Young and Foreign.
Kick to the gut!
Kick to the gut.
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 Hey, Kick to the Gut.
Kick to the gut.
Kick to the Gut podcast.
Kick to the gut podcast.
Kick to the gut.
Your podcast sucks!
Yo, are we in some kind of multiverse, some sort of parallel universe where today we're going to only talk about AEW and we might actually have good things to say. I was actually looking forward to this episode, bruh.
Are you sure, bro? Are you really sure?
Okay, welcome. It's Mr. Young.
And it's foreign in the building. I mean, let's just be honest and like get the cat right out of the bag. Like AEW is like the hottest thing in wrestling right now in terms of momentum, in terms of buzz, and we gotta ride that wave. You know, you gotta talk about very newsworthy subjects, right?
Well, let me just say, you know, in the WWE's defense, right? AEW is still that new shiny toy. Give it 5 years, maybe even 10 years. Let's see where we are then. And I'm looking forward to doing the 10th anniversary of AEW Dynamite show, should they last that long.
And should the podcast last that long as well? 10 years, bro.
50 years time will be like a bunch of apes talking about wrestling. I can't believe. Yeah, you know.
Remember during my time, the Rock was such a big legend.
What's up to the live chat, by the way? Thanks for hanging out. If ever you miss anything on the live chat, don't worry about it. You can always check out the podcast as well on Spotify. And if you haven't followed us on those platforms, why? Do us a favor. Hit subscribe on YouTube, hit like on this video, and on the podcast, well, hit follow lah.
Speaking of miss, did we miss out on our intro? I feel like something like not right.
No, we hit everything. We heard, the WWE superstar that is Dante Chen talk about us for a quick second.
No, not that, bro. I didn't hear. It's a Mr. Young.
Oh, we did that already, remember?
Did we say it's a foreign in the building? Bro, you are very distracted. What is distracting you, bro? We totally just did that like 2 minutes ago. Chat, can you please confirm this? Gaddafi, what's up? Edison, how are you? Muhammad Daniel, hello.
Yo.
What's up, guys? You guys are our usuals, our regulars. I mean, this is gonna be a fun episode. The most interesting thing about this episode is that even though, yes, we'll talk about the good things, the highlights and lowlights of AEW, we also have to talk about how it is in relation to WWE. So it's always a symmetry right there, bro.
Of course, that's the whole pro wrestling universe, as it were. Muhammad Gaddafi says, what's great is that the 4 pillars of AEW will be barely in their prime in 8 to 10 years. I know, right? And then that's the perfect opportunity for them to finally go to the right place, the WWE. Hey, drawing a line in the sand already, huh? No, I'm kidding.
Choi.
Hey, you never know, you know. I can't wait to see the first defection the other way. That will be the next sort of like thing that makes us sit up and go, ooh. It's like when WCW was kicking WWE's ass, and then all of a sudden the first defection happens, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? The tide, is it turning, or is this a tide that, well, could spell the end of the WWE?
Yeah, just to be clear, like when you talk about the 4 pillars, it's based on MJF's promo, right? So it's MJF, Sammy Guevara, who are the other two again? Was it Hangman Page?
Was it Hangman Page and Darby Allin?
Yeah, I think so.
Is Jungle Boy in there as well? I don't remember exactly.
I think it's Jungle Boy. I think they didn't even include Hangman Page. Hangman Page is the here and now.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, I mean, recently, like the latest episode of AEW Dynamite, last week's episode was the 2-year anniversary. And I mean, okay lah. To be honest, if you ask me, would they last 2 years? I would have said, yeah, of course. You know, you need to give shows like this time to build an audience, and it's definitely grown. So much so that this week, actually, this is an interesting thing, right? SmackDown is doing a supersized SmackDown because they are on the FS1 instead of Fox. So it's like whenever Fox has live sports, they'll push them like demotion a bit, push them down to FS1. So I guess maybe on FS1 they have more leeway. So they're like, let's do a 2.5 hour program, which means the last half hour of SmackDown is going to clash with the first half hour of AEW Rampage.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, right? We put it up on our Instagram as well. Clearly, Tony Khan is salty about it, or clearly he's either that or he's stirring the pot, and being very smart of a businessman. He called out WWE and said like, "Hey, you wanted to go head to head. Like, I can't wait to like beat you in the ratings on your major show." And we put out a poll as well whether AEW is legitimate competition, and I think a lot of us, majority of the fans here in Singapore, seem to lean towards that way.
You know, here's the thing. I bet if we asked the same question 2 years ago, it would have been a different answer. But that goes to show how much AEW has grown in just the 2 years, which is a great sign for them. And actually, it could be a huge wake-up call for SmackDown. Deep down inside, I'm actually hoping the first half hour of Rampage does better than the last half hour of SmackDown. Just because, if anything, it's like, okay, it sends a very clear signal. SmackDown, WWE, it's time to wake up your idea and do some, interesting shit.
And to be fair, and we're going to talk about it more next week, right? When we preview Crown Jewel. The card is pretty stacked if you think about it. It's getting stacked over there.
I think, well, first of all, it's a huge payday, right? I mean, we've talked about it before. That pay-per-view, in terms of money, bigger than WrestleMania. Like,
we've established, bro, that they are literally the bumpers. And this is where they get the mid-year bonus, bro, or like end-of-year bonus for the wrestlers.
Just fly to Saudi Arabia, get that money, and then, go back home. But yeah, they're definitely building up to a huge mega card. Would you say even WrestleMania-worthy card?
That's why it's called Saudi Mania.
Saudi Mania. And leading up to it, there are a lot of interesting things. Oh my God, okay, can we very quickly talk about SmackDown last week? Finally, it's like they finally listened to us, right? And remember, we've been talking about how, like, just don't make the whole pay-per-view Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It takes away that moment where I want you in Hell in a Cell. Like, finally, we're getting Hell in a Cell at a pay-per-view that's not called Hell in a Cell, so at least it's a surprise. It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and it make a lot of storyline sense. Like the feud between Seth Rollins and Edge is getting very personal, right? And they've had like 2 huge matches, and they definitely need a good blow-off. So like, come on, Hell in a Cell, I think it's perfect, especially in this kind of big arena and big audience.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, I have a request from the chat to say Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel. Okay, come with gravitas as well.
Must have a bit of the Thanos deep bass voice though.
Hey, because the Crown Jewel is like it got Infinity Gem. It's one of the gems. Anyhow, I thought rubbish.
Yeah, I know. Okay, let's not sidetrack. Let's talk about that next week.
Yes.
But this week, AEW Dynamite, and I think we might start off by reviewing this last week's episode, the 2-year anniversary.
Okay, and then we'll take a look. Actually, do you want to do the first episode first?
The first ever episode.
Because I have the card right in front of me. I pulled up the card because I knew we were going to talk about it. I want to like juxtapose episode 1 versus episode 200. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Do you remember the very first match actually?
I do.
Okay, let's set the scene first, okay? Because right before this, Jon Moxley made his debut and at the pay-per-view, and he was gonna show up like, first episode of Dynamite, Jon Moxley is gonna make an appearance, right? But yes, please go ahead. The first match.
Yes, if I recall correctly, is it Cody Rhodes?
Yes, of course it has Cody to be. Rhodes? Who else? In AEW, he is the savior of pro wrestling after all.
And to put it in context, 2 years ago, people really think he was the savior of wrestling in the sense that he was a beloved babyface at that point in time.
Wait, did he do the whole smashing the throne? Was this on Dynamite? No, or is that on the pay-per-view?
That was on Double or Nothing. Okay. That was the pay-per-view, yeah. So at this point in time, he is being welcomed like a homecoming hero, like this savior that finally, has the first ever episode that is not from WWE to come out in national television.
You know what it is, right? Everyone who leaves WWE will have the I've escaped from the evil empire heat. So they will get chilled no matter what. They will have that, you know, but they will only last for so long because, in a few years, that's going to be like passé already. So, okay, you had, one of the pillars, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes.
And this is very interesting because when this match happened, it was at the start of Dynamite. Sammy Guevara was still on his own.
Yeah.
He wasn't part of anything yet.
Yeah, he was like that young guy that everyone sort of had a lot of, hope for. They know he has potential, handsome fella, very talented in the ring. Let's just go out there and showcase against Cody Rhodes.
Really cool, because he really looked like a young boy at that point in time. There wasn't even any references to being called a Spanish god. That would come much later. And remember, he had that panda outfit thing. It was like very, very weird looking thing going on.
He was going for the super irritating, like young cocky heel vibe, which he plays very well, right? Of
course.
Gaddafi says he likes the long-term storytelling for Cody from savior to heel. Wait. See, this is what I'm very interested in, right? And we talked about it last week. Are you sure this is long-term storytelling, or did he just accidentally stumble into heeldom? I don't think he purposely, okay, this is the plan. I'm going to start as the savior and then I'm going to slowly get fans to turn on me. No. He just outlasted his welcome and by defacto, by default, rather, became a heel.
I'm pretty sure, right, he's been putting out drip feeding quotes out there in the media outlets, right, saying that he will never turn heel.
Yeah.
He will never turn on his beloved AEW. Is that a shoot or what?
Exactly, right? Maybe he's smarter than all of us and he's playing us. Huh?
He could be the biggest genius and potential heel of all time, or he could just be Cody Rhodes. So I don't know.
Yeah, and meanwhile, his wife Brandy is like straight up heel from start to end. No matter what, there's nothing likable about her right now.
I mean, okay, let's talk about the first episode when she came out. So at that point in time, Brandy is always accompanying him, right? Yeah, and Cody at that point in time didn't have the rights to his Rhodes name. Yep. So it was always Cody and Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah,
remember that? So I think that gave Brandy this sense of, I don't know, entitlement perhaps.
Ooh. The funny thing was, remember when Brandy first started, she was like, chief brand officer, part of the Nightmare family. No, not what was it? The Nightmare Collective or family?
It was the Nightmare family first.
Yeah. Then the stupid thing is, remember this? Brandy became like a heel offshoot of the Nightmare family and became a Nightmare, don't know what shit. She teamed up with Awesome Kong, and a bunch of other people. That was, oh my god, you talk about like the start of Dynamite, right? That was one of the worst things ever.
Let's just say that was a very ill-advised, misinformed storyline to turn Brandy into this heel. Yeah. It wasn't working out.
Meanwhile, her husband is like the savior top face. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was very awkward. It's like, I mean, there was this one time that WWE did something similar. Remember when they made Triple H the returning hero from injury while the wife was still Stephanie McMahon as a heel. Yeah,
but then they at least feuded.
Yeah.
Remember, they feuded. In this case, you still had Brandy once in a while like sayanging Cody, while in other vignettes she was being a heel. Like, what?
And do you remember before, at the start, right? Wasn't MJF part of the Nightmare family?
Yeah. So
he was the heel in the so-called babyface faction.
Yeah, they were really trying. But let's move on with the card. MJF, speaking of which, nice segue. MJF was on the card. He was the second match against Brandon Cutler.
Was this Brandon Cutler's only ever main roster match?
Yeah, I think, this is before he became a stooge, I suppose. So
he was, I remember very clearly, he had this gimmick of like a Dungeons and Dragon.
Is it?
He loves Dungeons and Dragons. And he was coming out in this like mystical, like a bit like Road Warrior kind of outfit.
Well, that goes to show how much of an impact he made. I don't remember. And the point of this wasn't Brandon Cutler anyway. He was just there to job to MJF, who is the star.
Yeah.
In the
Clearly,
making.
he was like, even then he was like a Michael Nakazawa. He was just like a friend of the Rhodes family, and that's why he got the job.
And then now he's a friend of the elite, is it?
Yep.
That's why he's one of their Saikang warriors. Anyway, SoCal Uncensored and Lucha Bros had a bit of an altercation before some tag team tournament. Oh yeah, they were going to crown tag team champions, right? So they did a tournament.
Yes, correct. And also, one thing that happened, I think a lot of people forget that this wasn't right after Double or Nothing. This was after their All Out pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, Lucha Bros already had that first Escala de la Muerte match, ladder match with Young Bucks, but they were contending for the Triple A tag team titles. They
Right.
didn't have their own home promotion titles. So I think this was the start of the tournament that was crowning the first champions.
That's right. Pac. He's still around, apparently. I think I heard on commentary or something that he was getting over a concussion. That's why he hasn't been around also.
Holy shit.
So yeah, I don't know.
Was it because of what happened with Hangman Page?
I have no idea. Talking about Hangman Page, he fought Hangman Page on this card.
Yeah, because this was like finally the first time they have this match in their promotion. Because remember they wanted to have that match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah,
there was travel issues, and then they wanted to have Kenny Omega versus John Moxley at All Out, but then John Moxley got injured and it became Kenny Omega versus Pac.
Yeah.
Right. So
Earl Hebner was in this match actually. Was this like the one time he decided to come back?
Oh really? Like did they put that, like mention it purposely on the card that is Earl Hebner refereeing? Or
I
what?
don't know if they mentioned it, but I'm looking at the recap, and yeah, they talk about Earl Hebner being the ref in this card or on this match. So there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly he's not anymore. I mean, he's really, really old, right? He's
Right.
retiring, right?
He is. Okay, and this is clearly the main event. Riho beat Nyla Rose for the inaugural AEW Women's Championship.
Okay, you're not joking. This is really the main event.
No. There was a main event. This is the co-main event. I was being sarcastic.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
We've come a long way in the women's division in AEW. Thank goodness. It still needs a lot of work. And actually, I want to get your opinion on their new title that they've announced. But we'll get to that when we talk about the second anniversary show. Do you remember much about this match other than the fact that, well, Riho beat Nyla Rose, which is like, yeah.
I mean, like Riho. Okay, I remember when Riho got into the promotion, she was winning over the crowd. Like she was getting over, in the US. Like I think they just see her as this like very sprightly underdog, like so small little girl, but still can, take down giants. So I think they were enamored by that, and I think they were still having the momentum of like, oh, new promotion, let's support everyone, let's support everyone. Yeah, so I think that kind of helped her get over the hump of no pun intended, Nyla Rose lah.
Yeah, but the problem here is believability, right? At the end of the day, it wasn't like they didn't even do some mega schmoz weird stuff. It was like kind of clean. So to me, that was like, okay, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. And do you realize that ever since then, Nyla Rose has never had any sustained momentum in AEW? Neither has Riho. Like it was like this failed experiment that they once in a while will bring back, but other than that, it's like, okay, never mind. Give them more time on Dark or Elevation or whatever the hell, right?
But very, very interesting. I just wanted to say one more thing, right? Do you remember during this period, they were pushing Brit Baker already as the face of the women's division, but as a face.
Yes, and she was a terrible face.
She was pretty bland.
Her promos were, just like, what? Her promos were garbage. And, well, look where we have come. Okay, the main events. Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz versus Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
Yes, just some context to this match. This happened because Santana and Ortiz interfered in the aforementioned Escala de la Muerte ladder match against Lucha Brothers, right? And so now they are aligned with Chris Jericho.
That's right. And this is like kind of the seeds of the Inner Circle. This was also the debut of, do you remember?
Jake Hager, right, at the end of the match to interfere.
Right. So he came out, helped them. So they're like standing in the ring over the fallen bodies of all the baby faces. New faction. What are they going to be called? Dun dun dun. We'll find out next episode. Gotta watch. In terms of like the overall vibe of the first episode of Dynamite, I think I remember it being exciting, but also it's like, okay, there are few problems here. And remember early on, we always talked about the fact that they would wrestle a style which was not sustainable for weekly television.
Oh yes, I do remember that.
And I think, in the next few weeks and even months, they would continually do that, right? And it's like every episode got 10 dives. Or, you would hear Excalibur call Suicida until it became a joke with JR. Like JR wasn't having any of it already. Like, oh shit, another Suicida, oh, another Tope, oh,
What was this when Alex Marvez was still on commentary?
No, I
Or
think
did they already take them out already?
it was Shivani, Jim Ross, and Excalibur. And I remember the commentary being very stunted, very like they had not grown accustomed to each other yet. It was very obvious. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. And you know what's the other thing that both of us remember we were complaining about?
What?
They never mute their mics during commercial breaks.
Yes.
During fight on Fight TV, and we were like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah, because the international audience got the feed, even though in the US they were showing commercials, right? So sometimes they would leave the mic on. They would be like talking shit. JR swanning some fella, and JR had a lot of salty shit to say. I have to say, I actually kind of miss that. I miss salty JR.
No, actually, I think Salty JR is because when he came in, he realized, this one really is an outlaw macho and like these are amateurs.
Yeah.
And he realized, oh my god, what did I sign up for? So I think clearly after a few years, like more people came and like they are more established and experienced. And I think he's more comfortable now. But at that point in time, I think being expected to run the ship when he's really already an old man, I don't think he has that energy and I can be on the ball like that. That's why I think he's very salty. But the best part about the commentary, I think, was finally getting Tony Schiavone out of retirement for 20 years, because I really didn't realize that he completely stopped being involved in the wrestling world after he left WCW. And he was really refreshing, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely a good addition in there. Him and JR, because they work together, they have some chemistry. Like Excalibur stood out like a sore thumb in the worst way because he didn't have chemistry with the two of them at all. It really sounded like one indie commentator with like 1,000,000,001 names for moves nobody knows, and the two old guys trying to describe the emotion and the feeling for the mainstream audience.
Even until now, like every time when he's like calling a move and suddenly like mentions some random Japanese Amba, drag, Fuji, Guevara, Tatami or whatever it is, I'm like, bro, what? I do not know. I think you need to give me subtitles, bro.
Yeah. No, the funny thing is, I think on a recent episode of Dynamite, when CM Punk was on commentary, they made a joke like that because Excalibur went and said some don't know what move, and even CM Punk was like, "Oh yeah, let's just call it Amba" or something like that. Like he just like, and then it's like I don't know, like maybe he's just having fun. CM Punk with JR.
I think CM Punk is really the voice of the voices. He knows what's going on and what people are talking about, and I think he leans into that. But going back to the first episode, right? I think what made the episode work is that they definitely ended on a cliffhanger, and I think it was a very good decision to straight away establish a heel faction to combat the elite from the get-go. I want to share with you some like insider knowledge that some insider report that I read up. Chris Jericho didn't want to have a heel, didn't want to create a faction. That idea was pitched to him by Tony Khan. Because Chris Jericho is like, all this while I've never had a faction in his entire career, which is actually, when you think about it, that's pretty crazy. Chris Jericho was never part of he's always had tag team partners, but he never was like a king of a faction. But then now they're trying to establish him as this like at that point in time, he was like the number one heel and he was the champion, right? So it made a lot of sense if you think about it from a booker's point of view, like, okay, let's surround him with goons and minions to kind of take the heat off of him. What do you think of like the build up of or like the profiles of Inner Circle, like the members that he chose?
I think, obviously, we have hindsight is 2020. We get to see how that turned out and turned out well, right? Like, but right off the bat, like we already saw, Santana and Ortiz, a lot of potential there. And with Jake Hager coming in as a muscle, you knew that Chris Jericho had the chops to pull this off as well. So I was like, okay, I'm into this. It's like almost like they're teasing like, oh, this is the new age NWO or something like that, So there was that sense of anticipation. So in that moment, it's like, oh shit. And as a Chris Jericho fan, of course, I'm excited if he forms his own little faction,
Yeah, and when he was talking about it, I think I got this quote from Talk Is Jericho, but when he was talking about it, he felt like even though it didn't make sense at first, like what makes all these 5 people come together, right? And how he chose all of them, he realized that he really took a lot of inspiration from like Guns N' Roses, Rolling Stones, where like each member, right, doesn't look like they can. Like they look like they're the same. They don't look uniform like the Beatles. You know what I mean? They're like all wild characters, all on their own, but somehow they mesh together. And funnily enough, he actually fought with Cody because he wanted to get MJF in his faction.
Oh. And
'cause he
Cody was in the Nightmare Collective?
Yeah, as in MJF was already like Cody, like Cody already like okay, I already choked him already. I want him.
Yeah.
So Sammy Guevara was actually second choice. Interesting. Huh?
Well, but I mean, I think it's a great choice now, considering what has happened. And it just boils down to Chris Jericho knowing how to handle, the storyline telling, the promos and whatnot, right? And we have to give a lot of props to Chris Jericho because, and this would be a recurring theme, a lot of the storylines that we were talking about were the Chris Jericho storylines, were surrounded by, were surrounding the inner circle and stuff like that because he's the veteran. He's helping guide the storylines. Whereas some of the rubbish storylines, a lot of the women's division, nonsense, while they had Kenny Omega guiding that shit and it was going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, like, clearly the biggest draw at that point in time in AEW was Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
The biggest wild card was clearly Jon Moxley, right? So interesting world to think about. Like, oh my god, the only thing that was interesting about AEW was these two defections.
Let's say hi to the Shadow who's just stopped by the stream. Tovakin as well. How y'all doing? Hey, do us a favor, hit that like if you haven't already, all right, on the video, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. So okay, we just talked about the very first episode of AEW Dynamite because we're looking back 2 years of Dynamite, right? Let's fast forward to the last episode of AEW Dynamite, which is the 2-year anniversary. And
2-year anniversary.
What a different landscape. Oh my gosh. So, okay. I mean, we just talked about Kenny Omega. Now he's the dominant heel. He's the Kenny Omega that everyone wanted to see right off the bat. Right? Because remember, Kenny Omega at the start of AEW was sort of like, okay, I'm just going to be low-key. I'll lose a couple of matches, just nothing spectacular. Same for the Young Bucks. They were just having indie mud show tag team matches every single week.
Yeah. One thing I have to give credit to the so-called founders of AEW is that they didn't immediately make themselves the number one. Even though we had a lot of arguments about this, whether like they should have done that and at least establish themselves, right? But I think eventually Kenny Omega's thinking is like, who cares if I'm the number one heel champion when I have no roster to fight against? Yeah. So it made more sense to build it up.
Maybe he did that on purpose. He didn't want to be the champion when there was nobody to challenge. So if the thing flops, not my fault. Actually, if you think about it from a business standpoint, do you think that was the case? I'm just throwing out like random ideas there.
No, I believe that everyone there agreed, in unison that the biggest draw, regardless of who was successful, who was what, anywhere else, biggest draw, most recognizable name was Chris Jericho. Yep. And I think everyone decided, okay, let's get behind Chris Jericho first.
Then slowly, as the time goes by, you can branch out a little bit lah. Your first match on AEW Dynamite last week was the Elite versus Jurassic Express, Bryan Danielson and Christian Cage.
So I'm very interested in this sudden formation of a faction between the Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. Bryan Danielson is like the ultimate good guy, nice guys, baby faces, right?
Yeah, it's one of those like we're only together to fight off the bad guys. It's not really a faction, you know what I mean? Like the Elite, they are the true faction, doing their irritating shit. And now, okay, compare the Young Bucks from start to now. Which Young Bucks do you like better?
Okay. I don't like the Young Bucks now also though.
Really?
It's like Young Bucks are annoying, very over the top heels now, right? With all their dressing, all that kind of stuff. But I think it has gone further. Like at the first time they turned heels, I liked it. But then now this is just so X-Pac heat kind of thing.
Then let me ask you this. Is it then fair to say that as performers, while they are talented, amazing performers, they don't know how to tell a long-term storyline on an episodic television show?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's so funny because I feel that they do a good job on being the Elite. to tell episodic storytelling on an internet show, but they seem to not be able to do it on a broadcast.
But you see, an internet show is exactly that. Maybe there's no stress on the internet show. You know what I mean? Like
It's very loose, free and easy. Like
Whereas-
what we're doing right now, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Whereas if it's a full-on produced show, they're like, oh shit, we need to think about this, and then maybe they're in over their heads or whatever the case may be, right? Like I haven't really been able to see them sort of be in, and they're supposed to be the ones looking after the tag team division, so maybe they're not the people who should, maybe they need to be told, okay, this is the storyline for you for the next year, blah, 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 that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see. The thing is, right, let's just look at their treatment of FTR. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, it's almost as if, right, I feel like the only reason they brought FTR to AEW is so that they can beat them, and then people can say, okay, the undisputed number one tag team in the world is Young Bucks. Okay, then argument over, and then I'll throw them to one side. That's very sad, you know?
Right. Okay, so now they have Adam Cole, which, well, damn. Actually, I feel a bit like weird about this whole situation, right? It's almost as if Adam Cole is just coming in to just play with his friends. And
yeah, a bit, right?
yeah, like not really. Like, okay, so now you have this big like group versus group feud, I guess. Maybe Adam Cole will be in Bryan Danielson's way for a bit before he finally can, go after Kenny Omega. So at least there are many feuds, many combinations you can build from there.
Yeah, the problem with this storyline, and you brought it right, you brought up the point very well. The fact that Adam Cole, when he was in Undisputed Era, he was the clear number one guy, number one heel. He was brought into the promotion AEW, like he with all his number one heel momentum, right? But now he's clearly playing second fiddle to Kenny Omega.
Yep.
He is like now like the stooge to the elite, like on the same level as the Young Bucks are at the forefront, but they're not really the number one guy. The number one guy is still Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So unless they are playing some sort of storyline where Adam Cole is like gonna usurp Kenny Omega and become like the number one bad guy in the elite, there's no end point to this story. Like I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, there's no indication that he is going to, and right now I feel like he's just there to have fun with his friends for a while.
Yeah, clearly that, and I think Jim Cornette says it best. Says it best. Like, I love him when he first came back, and then ever since then, he's just been playing with his friends and playing with himself.
Hey, if he wants to have fun doing that while he streams on Twitch, makes a hell of a lot of money, why not, right? It's just that I think as fans, we are like, oh, look at all that potential. Oh, it could have been done. It could have been better used somewhere else, but oh well. Yeah, so let's talk about that. That match happened. Christian Cage came in with a lot of hoo-ha and all of a sudden has slid right down to the upper mid-card or mid-card even.
I mean, Christian Cage, his only time in the sun was his match at All Out, in my opinion. But even then, he wasn't the biggest draw of the pay-per-view.
No, it was a part-time feud, and it a holdover. It's like Finn Balor feuding with Roman Reigns. We know why you're here. Okay, it's to tide you over to the next challenger, which was Daniel Bryan.
So as fucked up as this sounds, right? So was Vince McMahon right all along in not seeing Christian Cage as a star?
I hate to say yes, but yes.
But yes.
Yeah, like Edge clearly was the big star of the two, right? And then now somehow you have to worry about him being injured. He's coming off major injuries. Like it's a lot of liability for a big company like that. Might as well focus on their young talent, young hot, actually drawing money talent. Not that Christian can't, but you know what I mean.
I think Christian Cage, if he came into the AEW understanding that his role is just he's gonna be the veteran guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like Kazarian, put over other people, and I think if he's cool with that, then I think why not?
But remember, he was going on about how he has unfinished business. What? Your unfinished business was putting over young talent and jobbing.
Why leave WWE, right?
Yeah, I don't know lah. Like I feel like. Okay, maybe WWE legitimately had literally nothing for him. Like maybe his whole thing was he would come in and get stomped by Seth, or who was Edge feuding with at the time?
No, but it didn't make sense because remember, he came and returned, had a surprise entry at the Royal Rumble this year, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, if he had stayed, he would have been the number 2 for Edge and in his road to WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, and even like he might not be the number one guy, not the main feature of the feud, but he's part of a main event feud going to WrestleMania.
Right. Oh, Tovakin brings up a very good point. Christian is busy being the top guy in Impact.
Oh yeah, you see, we even forget the fact that he's an Impact Wrestling champion.
Impact? What is that?
Oh, but I mean, Impact. Okay, let's give Impact some credit. They are actually gearing up towards their biggest show of the year, you know, bro. I think, if I'm not wrong, it's this weekend. Bound for Glory is this weekend, if I'm not wrong.
I literally have heard nothing about it, so that's what that means.
Yeah. So those in the chat, please enlighten us. What is the main event for Bound for Glory? Because it has to be some sort of world title match, right? Between Christian Cage and somebody.
Is it Moose? Isn't Moose like one of the top guys?
Moose could be the one that will be a fat guy. I don't know what's his name.
The fat guy. Wow, great description, bro. Oh, I don't know.
Like
some fat guy.
No, he used to be Solomon Crow on NXT, but now I forgot what's his name now.
Anyway,
I'm gonna find out. Freak.
Poor things, yeah. Number one contender and foreign doesn't know his name. I don't even know he exists. Okay.
No. Oh, Sammy Callahan.
Oh, Sammy Callahan. Okay, I know who that is. Like
Right,
fat guy. What the hell? Let's talk about Sammy Guevara versus Bobby Fish.
Oh yes.
Jason, what's up? By the way, welcome to the chat. And welcome to the podcast. Okay, so CM Punk was on commentary. I think the most of Dynamite, right? All of Dynamite. So is he? So, okay, the question is right. With as for CM Punk, he's also in this weird situation. So are they just going to use him a lot as commentary and have him in a match once in a while? Like, is he in a feud?
I think that's the road he's going, because CM Punk seems to be like he's kind of going in and around, and he's not even establishing any new feuds, because even on Dynamite he was fighting a Danny Garcia, a young guy, and then next week if you watch Rampage, he announced that he's gonna be fighting Matt Sydal.
Yeah, so they seem to all be just one-off matches. Like, wasn't he fighting with Team Taz and he beat Hobbs? So is that the end of the feud?
It seems like it doesn't seems to be any follow-up. I mean, I would have loved for him to fight Ricky Starks, but Ricky Starks right now is tied down with fighting Brian Cage, right?
Which nobody cares about.
Yeah. No, nobody cares. Speaking of nobody cares, I just want to mention quickly. So the main event, I found out what's the main event for Impact Wrestling.
Oh, jeez. Okay, go.
It's Christian Cage versus Josh Alexander.
Who?
Yes.
Who the is that?
He used to be one half of the tag team The North with Ethan Page, but Ethan Page left what? So now he's like a singles guy. He dresses a bit like Rick Steiner, bro. He got the wrestling singlet and then got the head muffs. I don't know if you've seen him before. But he's a Canadian wrestler. So
does he look like Braun Breaker? Braun Breaker.
No, like a bit skinnier lah. So that seems to be the singles match for the Impact World Championship, brah.
Okay. Very quickly, I want to mention. You remember one episode of Rampage? They put Ricky Starks on commentary with Taz.
Oh yes, I did.
Do you remember how terrible it was? I did not understand why they did that. Like, he doesn't seem comfortable there. I was like,
you're talking about Ricky Starks or what?
Yeah. I don't know why that just jumped at me, because I remember hearing his voice. Then I remember him just basically agreeing with whatever Taz says. Once in a while, he have a quip here, and then Taz will like try his best to sell it. Like, oh, that's hilarious, Ricky. But I was like, wow, this sounds very bad. Like, why put him on commentary at all? Yeah,
I think he's just, maybe they're just progressing the storyline as him as a heel, but people keep comparing him to The Rock in terms of charisma. I don't see it yet. A bit too early.
Yeah, it's there. You can tell there are hints of greatness, right? But talking about The Rock, mega sidetrack, but The Rock just came out with a rap song. Like, what? That was the last thing I ever thought Rock would do. You know what? I would dare say I would be less surprised if Rock came out with a country song. Because, you know, he's been on Raw before singing on his guitar, "Sing the Rock, baby, left him," and all that shit. And then he has a rap song. What's going on?
Okay, you want my hot take on this, yes or no?
Sure.
Okay, as a song itself, because I know the guy that he collaborated with, Tech9. Tech9 is a pretty big in rap. He's a rap legend at this point, right?
Okay.
The song itself is actually really, really badass. Like really, really awesome. And the other three featured rappers, their rap like totally killed it, like fucking fire, bro. It's like really Eminem level, like fast chopping, blah blah blah. Da, 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 da.
I feel I feel a big bite coming.
No, they were killing it. The flow, everything was killing it. But the problem is that was just a preview and lead up to the Rock's rap.
Yeah.
So okay, if you had like 3 5-star matches, right, to start off the pay-per-view, right, and then you have the Rock rapping as the main event, right? No matter how surprisingly good or decent or normal or okay lah the Rock rapping was, right, it will sound like shit compared to the rest of the song, bro.
Yeah. No, I heard the rap. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert at rap. I listen to a bit of rap music, but it's not rap. It's him just yelling or saying words.
It's him repeating all his catchphrases, bro.
You know, he's doing a Kesha. He's sing talking is what he's doing. I just compared The Rock to Kesha.
Oh wow, that's the hot take of today's episode.
Yeah, like, you know, he's not rap. There's no real flow. He's just saying words that rhyme with each other.
Yeah. And okay, I don't profess to be the best rapper of the world, you know, like I love rap. And I do dabble in it, and I do release songs. But I think what the problem was is the Rock was real. He did talk about, and the best part about the best kind of raps are when it's authentic and he's really talking about himself and his struggles. So I know there was a whole bunch of catchphrases, boots to asses, say my motherfucking name, domination, blah blah blah, desecration, blah blah blah, right? It's just
very
bro. When you have 3 legitimate like rappers and then someone play acting as a rapper as the main event, it's gonna be a bit disrespectful. I rather like if The Rock was to come out of it as the intro, if he was the one doing the intro and then the rest he introduces the rest and the rest is the one that kills the song. I think that's much better than them subverting it and making him the main part of the song, which is problematic lah.
So what's up? So says, if Macho Man can rap about washing Hulk Hogan's mouth with soap, so can Rock. There you go, mic drop. He needs to slip into a Slim Jim. Ooh yeah.
Did you actually listen to Macho Man's rap album?
Way back in the day, of course I did, man. Come on, man. It was. It sounds like The Rock's rap. Actually, there you go. It sounds like him doing a promo over beats.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly it, bro. Okay, we just cracked it.
Yeah.
The Rock didn't rap; he just kind of promo over a rap beat. Okay,
that's it. Yeah. Whereas the other people actually rap. His was just, I'm just doing a promo. That's it. Okay.
Can we finally say there's one thing that John Cena does better than The Rock?
Rap. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Clearly,
so Sammy Guevara is the new TNT champion. He beats Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is officially all elite.
Interesting, but where does he fit in all of this?
We'll have to see, I guess. Let's move on then. Darby Allin versus Nick Comorato, or whatever.
Comorato, Scaramouche.
Figaro. I think I skipped this match because I didn't care.
I mean, okay. One thing I like about Nick Comorato, he does look badass. He looks like a new generation. What's his name? Who's the one that Bruiser Brody? He got the Bruiser Brody look, you know.
He's the one with the big wild hair, right?
Wild hair, humongous body.
I don't know why I think of the Berserker when I think of that look. Do you remember the Berserker?
I do. I even think of like Haku.
Oh yeah, yep. There you go.
Yeah. But the problem is, I think he is guilty by association, bro.
Yeah, because he is hanging out with everybody's favorite, the best faction leader in all of professional wrestling, QT Marshall.
No, bro, no, just no. I think this is the time when I say just ditch him, and fucking like go another faction or just be on his own. I think it's much better.
QT Marshall was involved in this match, of course. But thankfully, it was to go in and get beaten up by Sting.
Clearly why you skip this lah, so you didn't miss out on much lah.
Yeah, so not much has changed since the first episode. It's still crap. No, I'm kidding. Okay, this is definitely a step in the right direction when you talk about the women's division. Hikaru Shida versus Serena Deeb. Like, this was a much better match than Nyla Rose versus Riho.
So apparently Serena Deeb has been bestowed this new nickname, bro, by the Iceman himself, Dean Malenko.
Yeah, because Dean Malenko used to be the man of 1,000 holes. So she's what? How many? 1,001? 1,004?
No, she's just the woman of 1,000 holes.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris Jericho is the man of 1,001. No, 1,004. Remember?
Yeah. but you know what? I've never really sat down and actually watched a Serena Deeb match and really focus on her wrestling style.
Yeah.
But she is great, bro. I love her technical ability. But and also the storyline of the match, she just turned heel, right? At the end of the match.
Yes. And also, did something happen to Hikaru Shida? Like she changed her look or something? She looks, wow. I know this is very superficial, but she looks hotter than before.
I mean, if she's your type, man, I mean,
Sure.
you would notice, right? Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, I think she's okay, lah.
Yeah, okay, there you go. But yeah, probably one of Hikaru Shida's better matches.
Bro, my current location denotes my answer to that question.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The match itself, a prelude, I suppose, to the new TBS Women's Championship, which they announced as well. Now, let's talk a little bit about that and how it's interesting that now the women's division has 2 titles. Thinking about the title, like the picture scene, I actually like what AEW has done. And then they have your main titles and then they have show titles. It's almost like on the WWE side, theirs is Tombalik. Their main titles is their show titles, Raw, SmackDown, right? And then their subtitles or their sort of second tier titles are the named titles.
Yes. And I like where they are trying to do this distinction. They are really making the women's title have a world championship, and then they have like a mid-card, I guess it's what the TBS is lah. My only problem is the fact that they are naming it after the networks.
Yeah, well, I mean, they obviously are going to stay on the network for a while, so I think it's okay. Like,
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
but they announce that starting next year in January, Dynamite is moving to TBS.
Yeah, so basically that title will be only defended on Dynamite, whereas the TNT title will only be defended on Rampage, which I think is fine. It's not a big deal.
Okay, so basically, if Rampage stays on TNT and becomes like the home of TNT's Rampage, and then Dynamite is like the home of TBS. I do not know about you, like in terms of whether which is the bigger network? Is it TNT or TBS?
TNT. Actually, I think it might be TBS. I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if they're gonna put Dynamite, so-called their flagship show, on like the second-rate network in TBS, that's a bit problematic. I don't know. I just find that the names. They are all basing it on the fact that they're getting network deals from TNT and TBS.
Well, then again, they're all owned by the same people. So technically, you can have either title defender on either show. Actually, it doesn't matter. You know? And the other thing about AEW is they don't have 2 rosters. They have 1 roster. So it's really like I think it would make more sense if the titles stay on each show, like on Rampage and Dynamite. But yeah, technically, they could have the TBS title defended on TNT as well. Because it's like, oh, my family, your family. It's the same family.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but it's but you see the comments when after they announced the TBS title.
What?
Like the YouTube comments are all like, okay, now please debut the ESPN title. Please debut the
Fox.
MTV title.
Okay.
The Fox News title.
My only issue with this title is it is in a women's division that's already very shallow. It's very shallow already. So you're gonna have the same few people, like, you know what I mean? It's like you have a division, the main division got 2 people, your TBS division got 4 people, like what?
Yeah. And actually a lot of people thought that they're gonna at least debut like a women's tag or something like that. But I think TBS title makes sense because you're right, the roster problem. They don't even have enough people to form tag teams.
Yeah. No, but they don't even have, I feel like they don't even have enough content, like legit contenders. They have people, they have bodies. It's up to them to build them up, right? But at this point, who is the next in line when it comes to Brit Baker's title or Ruby Soho? Name me the next.
After Ruby Soho, like they can't go back to Chris Statlander. They already done Chris Statlander.
Yeah. Who?
I thought they would build up at least Serena Deeb,
but
Hikaru Shida.
It's quite obvious. Serena Deeb, Hikaru Shida, they're going to be contending for the TBS title, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Your women's division doesn't even have enough contenders for the main title, let alone a mid-tier title.
I found the announcement a bit problematic because, in my opinion, what I wanted was a trios title. If there's one thing that AEW has too much of, is factions.
So, that one, I'm not sold. I am not sold on the trios championship. I still think it makes no sense.
If it was you, which title would you have debuted? Or what kind of title would you have debuted?
Wow. Like I said, it would have to be a show. So the title will have to stay on that show. Yeah, be on stay on that TV show and not move and be that show's like champion, for example. So I would say a men's championship. So you could treat it like a US title and an IC title. They are always separated.
Because I kind of like the fact that TNT title right now, it doesn't, it feels, yes, it's lower than the world title, but it's still pretty high up in terms of prestige. Yep. It's almost like the old school IC title where it's really the clear number 2 and you don't like they're the next person in line before their world championship. Yeah. I kind of want something more for the mid card and for like the lower TV, or like the people that's proving themselves, like the young boys title, you know what I mean?
Like a European championship. Like if you think about it, back in the Attitude Era, there was the main title, there was the IC title, and then there was a European title. So you got your D-Los and you got your, the Miz.
Perry Satans.
Yeah. Who could contend for that title and stuff like that. So there you go. Let's see. People are suggesting names for contenders. Abaddon. Hey, go away. Stop it lah. Abaddon in your head. Jade Cargill, green. Still very green. So that's
Jade
why
Cargill,
that's why she's contending for the
green.
TBS title. It makes sense for her to be going after a mid card title.
Can I say though, other than her being green, everything else about her is perfect though. Like her entrance is dope. Yeah. Her look, her presentation, even her entrance music, bro. Yep. I'm like, damn, she's a star.
Tay Conti, Anna J, Penelope, Bunny. Yeah. All not main. So maybe that's why they're like, okay, we need a mid-card title because they are not ready for the main. So we'll just have 2 people in the main event scene. That's it. For now.
Maybe you're right. So like this TBS title can be like, okay, to groom the next star, to establish themselves at a certain level.
Meanwhile, they go on a spending spree to bring in, like, I don't know, is Gail Kim still wrestling? Like, bring in legends.
I just saw a couple of weeks ago, Gail Kim is like now the executive producer of like Impact Wrestling. She's like in charge of the Knockouts division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did like a 10-bell salute to Daphne because she just passed away, right?
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up a very quick point. Speaking of the women's division, do you realize that they just announced a new women's promotion called WOW, Women's of Wrestling?
Okay, no, I didn't see that. Who's in charge of that? Who's doing this?
So apparently, Women's of Wrestling used to be a TV show / promotion back in the early 2000s. Yeah. And then they died off and they just been brought back to life. But what's very, very interesting is they just announced their first signing, their headline signing is Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, who apparently can't get along with anybody. So good luck.
Yeah, that's the thing. So she's been a free agent for over a year. None of the big companies signed her, but they're signed up by this promotion / TV studio. But what is even more interesting, one of the executive producers is a very important wrestling name that just made her return.
Okay.
CM Punk's wife.
AJ Lee. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I saw that.
Mendes. Yeah, so the news is that because now she's not more well known as a writer. I think her scripts and her books are all doing really, really well. So I think she's really it's almost like a modern day Glow.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, AEW has, the opportunity. There are way more leeway to opening the forbidden door. I swear that quote is so overused. I'm upset at myself that I just used it. But they can definitely work with women of wrestling to do cross promotion and have these TBS matches or main title matches.
Yeah. When you say forbidden door is like overused, right? I think like how it's like now the new best for business.
Yeah. Right. Like Bobby Fish, where they're like, you talk about like, remember that whole promo when Sammy Guevara like won the title and then he was like going through challenges like, oh, Bobby Fish, and then they used the term open the forbidden door, and I'm like, motherfucker, he's a free agent, what forbidden door? It's not like he's on NXT,
Yeah, it's so funny lah. But I like that I guess AEW has this very loose rule in terms of like, okay, I can have like one-off appearances from people who are not part of the promotion. I think that's cool.
Okay, let's get to the main event then of last week's Dynamite Casino ladder match. What in the world?
What happened, bro?
I think I have a heavy machinery, and not talking about Ortiz and Tucker, but there's construction outside, so there's like heavy machinery going on.
Okay. Thank God I don't hear anything, so it must be alright.
Okay. So the casino ladder match. Interesting how they did this ladder match in that instead of everyone start at once, they came in at intervals. Which did you enjoy that?
Actually, I thought that made the match so much better.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah, but also like I don't like. I'm confused by the rules of that.
Okay, one thing, what I know what's the problem you're talking about. It's like if they're gonna wait for everyone to enter one by one, so when is the right time for them to climb up and get the title?
Correct.
Like, what's stopping them from like when it's just one on one?
Yeah, just go.
Somebody just faster climb the title, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine if they work that into a storyline one time when the first two fella already, one fella get already, then everyone else is like at the back going, what the fuck?
yeah. So I don't think they really explain like whether they can't climb for the title until after everyone's in. Maybe that's the ruling. But why I think it works, and I think it's unique from WWE because WWE always have like everyone in the same ring at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And it's always this crazy car crash. But I like that it's almost like a Royal Rumble mixed with a ladder match.
Yeah. No, the irony here is, right, logically this doesn't make sense, but they're doing it for the right reasons. Whereas, WWE is everyone starts because you need to give everyone equal footing, right? Versus the Royal Rumble, which is, that makes sense. Everyone comes in one by one. You have, moments to rest, blah, blah, blah. Versus their Casino Battle Royale, which is they all come out in groups. So it's like, I don't know, maybe they're trying to not copy WWE. So they purposely do it like this.
Maybe, but I think when they did Casino Battle Royale or Casino Battle Royale in like the pay-per-views, right? It didn't work because like they just let a bunch of wrestlers come in at the same time so that you didn't get like the pop.
Yeah.
But this ladder match, this style, I think if they explain it in such a way that okay, you all have like a number pick. So if you get the last entrant, means you are the most rested lah.
Yeah.
The one who is the first to die off most lah.
But the problem is they never told this story. It was all a big like, what's going on? So I think that maybe they should have made more of a big deal about this and explained it a little bit more if it was going to be like that. But I guess whatever, we're just nitpicking because at the end of the day, the Joker is making his big return. Adam Page, back from paternity leave.
Happy to see him, bro. I think the crowd did miss him, and for all the talk of like, WWE is like AEW signing all these WWE talent, like what if they're gonna just push the WWE stars? I think Adam Page, how beloved he is in the AEW among the AEW fans, I think it's on the same level as all these stars.
I think so. So there you go. He is now going to be the number one contender. He's got the poker chip and everything. So comparing, we just talked about the first episode. We just talked about the 200th, not 200th, sorry, the 2-year episode.
Yeah,
in terms of storytelling and just being a TV show, do you think the product has improved?
Of course, by leaps and bounds, so much more enjoyable.
And I agree with you 100%. And I also was thinking about it, and it's like, I think the rub or the fact that they've now brought in people, and we've talked about this before, the fact that they've now brought in people who have been to the big dance, who have been, in front of hundreds of thousands of crowds versus just indie mud shows. Young Bucks. Them having CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, JR, Tony Schiavone, Mark Henry, Paul White. Yeah, and all those guys definitely is influencing what Tony Khan is saying okay to. Whereas previously, it's like the Young Bucks are telling him, okay, this shit will work because this is what we've been doing on the indies this whole time. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I don't know if it's a case of Tony Khan has become a better booker or it's just he has more seasoned talent telling him or suggesting things to him. You know what I mean?
I think that's exactly what happened. You're only as best as your influence around you.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense for life as well, right? In everything in general.
Yeah.
So maybe Tony Khan just was like, okay, I give these people a chance. I listened to them. It didn't work out. Like there was a lot of pushback. Okay, now I'm getting better advisors around me. So essentially, he just has gotten better advisors around him, and which helps him make a better decision.
Like going back to that whole issue of the EVPs, right? And the report, quote unquote, that they are having less say Like, I don't even think that's really the case. I think it's just really a case of, like we talked about, he has better advisors around him now. It's just these quote-unquote advisors, they don't have the position of EVP, but they definitely have the experience.
Yeah, maybe they are just EVPs by name because based on that report, right?
Yeah.
Even up until like last year, the only ones that's attending like all these management creative meetings is only Cody Rhodes. So that means like if you think about that, actually makes a lot of sense. Like because okay, see based on the article, right? The current roles of everyone is Kenny Omega is really hands-on with the gaming division. He's trying to build that up. The Young Bucks, one of them, I think the older Young Buck, Matt Jackson, is helping out with marketing with the wife. So all the merch and everything.
So
and
pro wrestling tees basically.
Yeah, they're basically their own pro wrestling tees, so AEW shop, right?
Yeah.
And then Nick Jackson is like really hands-on with like handling their BTE, being the Elite YouTube channel. So he's being his own EP executive producer there. And Cody Rhodes is doing whatever Cody Rhodes does, which is everything.
Yeah. Or trying to be the savior of pro wrestling. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. So like, I think they got no time to actually influence any decisions in AEW. I mean, maybe last time they used to like recommend which talents to sign, blah blah blah. But I think now it's really Tony Khan like setting the scene.
Yeah, which is good. And it's not that we are saying, oh, Tony Khan best book of 2021. It's that he's just allowing the right advice or the better advice to come in to make those decisions. So I mean, you'll still see like some bullshit booking here and there, but I mean that's life. You can't make good choices every single time, right? So that's fine. It's just that you see less of the nonsense best friends, Joey Janela, Jimmy Havoc, all that bullshit is now on the YouTube show, which is great.
Yeah, I never even hear from them anymore. I think even Eddie Kingston went back to the YouTube show already, bro.
Okay, I actually do like Eddie Kingston. He's just, he's got an X factor about him, so I think that one can push.
Yeah, but like that's the point. Like I think the whole point of the AEW Dark and Dynamite is to elevation is to see who has the X factor, who is good enough for mainstream television.
EVP, extremely violent people. Remember they've been using that.
Oh yeah, they were making. But that's the thing. I feel like maybe they should just be wrestlers. I mean, like there's a reason why in the entire history of wrestling, there's wrestlers and then there's management. Wrestlers can't be management can't be wrestlers.
Right.
I think this is why.
Yeah, and that leads us to the Cody problem, Cody and Brandy problem, because they.
I tell you, bro, Cody Rhodes. The next year will be the biggest villain of professional wrestling. Mark my words. Yeah,
him and Brandy. Brandy is like, okay, she from the start she was already trying to play like heel. Now she's just gonna embrace this. She's gonna be like, yes, this is me. I can't wait to be on TV. Way too much. Actually, to be very fair, and I'm not like picking on Brandy or anything, but really, when she was in the WWE, what did she do? She was ring announcer. She was like, she tried to wrestle.
She was a backstage interviewer. She didn't even wrestle until after she left WWE.
So what makes her qualified to be the chief branding officer?
Because she have a degree in communications, bro.
I know about like 20 people with a degree in communications can run AEW's branding.
Bro, that's that point. She married into it, and everyone acknowledges that fact. But now she's have to prove herself that she's worthy of that. Yeah,
okay, they should just go straight corporate heel. They are, I mean, as much, remember...
They are new generation Triple H, definitely, man. Let's just admit it.
The irony of him smashing the Triple H throne, isn't it super obvious right now? Like, you have become what you hate.
Yeah, clearly, bro, clearly. But I mean, I'm happy that, I'm happy in AEW. I feel like they have the ability to course correct. Like, they're not going to have a Vince McMahon to double down. Okay, no, I must die, tell this story.
Yeah.
Die, must get this storyline out of the way. Like, they can just course correct if they need to.
Correct. Jason says, Cody Rhodes says he'll never turn heel because he's a new father and an all-American hero. Yeah.
You know what? If I put a poll right now on our Instagram story, ask, should Cody turn heel? I think I'll get 100%, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is right there, and... Yeah, I feel like a part of me wants to think that he's actually working the audience, by saying shit like that to make himself even more heel.
I tell you, bro, if Rhodes to the Top, the entire purpose of that show, right, is to slowly create a heel character, right? And then I think he's a genius.
Yeah, but
he's a genius.
We all know that's not the truth. He just wanted to be a reality star. And okay, now I'm thinking about the whole reality genre. Also, Dawn, how are you, by the way? Entertainment companies, please hire me. I have a comms degree. Yes. So, you know, when you watch I'm thinking of all the reality shows out there. You watch it because of the big name. For example, a Kardashian, right? Or if you watch like a Real Housewives, it's a collection of characters that do salacious things, blah, blah, blah. If you watch Total Divas, where's the Total Divas love, y'all? Or Total...
Bro, Total Diva cancel already, bro. You don't know.
I know. But in the past, Total Divas or Total Bellas, right? You watch it because they are big names and they are hot women, correct? Why would I want... You watch Ms. and Mrs. because one is like a reality star already and, you know, they are funny. Brandy and Cody are not funny, not interesting, not big stars by any stretch of the imagination. Do you think this is just them trying to get the limelight as much as they possibly can because they have the connection now? Oh, you know, AEW, big show, right? Yeah. Put us... Are they in it for themselves in a way? Because
they have been in it for themselves since day one. It's very clear, bro.
But they are the saviors of pro wrestling.
No, they are the saviors of America, bro, in their own life.
Oh, yeah. Them, you know, having the first ever biracial baby in the universe.
I think it's pretty clear. I think, didn't you realize that the reason why they even attach themselves to the Elite and join Kenny Omega, be part of Bullet Club, is they wanted to make a name for themselves outside of WWE and just build up their brand, which they have done. To their credit, they created the Nightmare Collective. They've made the Nightmare Collective is like a thing, like their brand right now.
Our nightmares, yeah. And you just watch, I swear, you just watch. In 10 years' time, when the fans really just turn on this whole bullshit, what they'll say is, this was the plan all along. Y'all fell for it. Hardy har har.
Bro, I can't wait for the 10-year anniversary where they have a tell-all expose of the infighting between the EVPs. I can't wait for that.
Honestly, I don't think they care. They're probably not, you know what I mean? They seem to just be like into their own little thing.
I mean, okay, I just had a crazy storyline idea, bro.
Oh boy.
I mean, not for storyline idea, but like, if AEW is going to make a game, right, which they are going to be making, right, if they want to have a career mode, right, this is what I suggest. My AEW career mode storyline, bro. They should divide AEW into the 4 factions of the EVPs.
Oh. Are you going to be
And then you have to...
Yeah.
No, so you start off as this novice wrestler, right? So you must go and choose which EVP do you want to be as your mentor. It's like the voice like that. No, that's true. So like, and then like, okay, clearly each EVP have their own philosophy, their own style of wrestling, which division you want to go into. So you want to be a tag team wrestler, you go through this, Young Buck, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so if you have the Young Bucks as your mentor, you do nothing but flippy matches, ladder matches, and bullshit like that.
Yeah.
If you want Kenny Omega as your mentor, you'll just wrestle in Japan and only hang out with Joshi wrestlers. And if you pick Cody as your mentor, that's it, your world title right to the top.
Cody as a mentor, you have a side mission detour where you have to act in a reality TV show for no reason.
I remember... Bro, I tell you...
This will actually be a fucking awesome career mode, bro. I would join that shit.
I think so too. Can you imagine? Actually, there's only one player you can play in career mode, and it is Cody.
Cody.
No, they are very inclusive. You can play a female character also. Brandy. And they force you to go through all their bullshit mini games of their story and, you know, giving birth and all that nonsense.
I haven't watched the second or third episode yet. Of
Nobody has watched the second of the first episode. Turned everybody off already. You're literally pissing everybody off. Like okay, even as a reality show, right? Like I'm not the biggest fan of reality shows, but I have watched reality shows. I know what makes it work. It's salacious. It's like, ooh, you know, this person said that about that person. Meanwhile, on Roads to the Top, you have freaking Brandy backstage with Jade Cargill and Red Velvet telling them, y'all need to be friends. Like, the fuck? Like
Bro, that works.
They're
That works in
feuding.
real life, lah.
They're feuding, but they're feuding. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that you need to like keep kayfabe, but it's like the TV show they were just on was 1 hour ago, and then now it's like y'all have to be friends. What the fuck is that?
Okay, last question with regards to this. Who do you think will be the best character or person in AEW to make a reality TV show around?
Honestly, anybody other than Cody. I would even say the Young Bucks would be more interesting, right? Kenny Omega would be interesting. Chris Jericho for sure. Bryan Danielson, well, I mean, he was on Toto Bellas, so never mind. CM Punk would be a billion times more interesting. Anybody except for Cody and Brandy, okay?
You know which couple I actually enjoyed the most from Total Divas, and I thought their relationship was like wasn't even highlighted enough, and I wish they did.
Ooh.
John Moxley and Renee Young.
But you see, Moxley is not the type of person who wants a camera following him around. He's like very, like quiet.
Which I think is actually makes it even better, because I do listen to the oral sessions, and every time like they have Moxley and Renee do like a couple podcasts, they are fucking funny, bro. They are like even funnier than Miss and Maurice, I think.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. No, because I remember there was this one episode when Renee interviewed Moxley, right? He was talking about his childhood, and then he talking about how he was always getting high, taking drugs in the library between classes.
Yeah.
And then Renee was like, I need to rethink this marriage right now.
Very cute.
I mean?
Yeah, very cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we are where we are. Things are looking up for sure. But like I said right off the bat, right now AEW has the this is the haven from the evil empire that is WWE. That's what their vibe is, right? They are the shiny new toy. Everyone's looking at them. How long will it last? Will it last 5 years? Maybe after 5 years, it's like, like, TNA had that for a bit, right? Remember, everyone was like, oh, X Division, that's the coolest thing. And then, well, we all know what happened to TNA lah.
Yeah. So right now, the main question is like, where does AEW go from now? Are they gonna continue building momentum? What is the next level? Because we always thought, bro, before this, okay, the only thing that's gonna push AEW to the next level is once they sign CM Punk. Once they get CM Punk, they know like, okay, they are legit. But now they've really gotten CM Punk. So what is next for them?
Yeah, I mean, continually taking WWE talent, at the same time building their own talent, which is a credit to them. They've done this quite well in that they are not just focusing on the WWE talent. You have your homegrowns like your Darby Allin and your
Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, MJF. I think the next level, the next step, bro, is to create. Because I still think they haven't created their WrestleMania worthy supercard yet.
Yeah,
I think they need to establish like Double or Nothing, all sounds great, but they don't sound grand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're right. I was thinking about it. Like right now, their WrestleMania is technically double on. No, it's All Out, right? Or Double or Nothing.
They consider All Out their WrestleMania.
Yeah, but you're right. It doesn't sound like a major event. Even Bound for Glory sounds like a better event than All Out. So
yeah. I
don't know.
I'm waiting for a super show by AEW. Okay, hear me out. That is done or held outside of US, like in the UK, like a crazy super show, and then that also brings in all the Forbidden Door promotions, like in pre-matches.
Like that could be their thing. Literally, that is their one advantage they have over WWE. Yeah. Like if you think about it, right, they should do a super card every year. It might not be their WrestleMania, it could be their Royal Rumble, for example, or their Survivor Series, where Survivor Series is like brand versus brand. They can have their promotion versus promotion card, and I think that would be, I mean, like I wouldn't consider myself like a indie internet wrestling fan. I'm quite mainstream lah, but even I would be like, holy shit, I want to see that,
Yeah. And recently, right, there's a lot of a buzz starting again. Somebody from New Japan is calling out all the AEW wrestlers to wrestle them.
Yeah.
The craziest name that's coming out is Will Ospreay.
I think the card that one massive event could be the one thing that really makes them stand out. Like them versus Impact and New Japan. Like a 3 promotion card. Like holy shit, dude.
And everyone's keep talking about like one day when Ibushi and Kenny Omega is gonna come back and have that blow off match.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, really good for long-time fans of their promotions.
Yeah.
And I think CM Punk wrestling Daniel Bryan Danielson in AEW will be like 3 generations, like 3 matches in 3 different promotions.
Yeah.
I think that's great as well.
How much money do they have to splash at New Japan for this to work? Because Impact, okay, easy lah. Anything Impact gets in terms of exposure is good for them already. So shit, even their main title is being held by AEW guys. So okay, whatever. But yeah, let's get that happening in New Japan. Do it in Japan first. I don't care where.
Yeah, it's happening. It's been happening. Like I think New Japan, even though they have like some issues or some conflict with some of the EVPs, but I feel with Tony Khan they don't, because that's why they're allowing what people like who came over, Suzuki,
bro,
all the other people. Yeah.
You know what will solve everything? Like all like they have heat or whatever with New Japan. And guess who has a lot of this?
Saudi Mania.
Hey, no lah, Khan. Tony Khan got a lot of money also. He can smooth that out.
Yeah, just like this.
Like
everything.
WWE got their Saudi Mania. AEW has Tony Khan. Okay.
Yeah, like even New Japan, their flagship show, Wrestle Kingdom, sounds whoa.
Yeah.
Like the gods of wrestling are all converging together.
So Elite Mania. Shit. Let's think of a name for their big, pay-per-view. Once a year. Yeah, you're right. They need that. They will. All Out doesn't cut it. All Out sounds like sounds like a B tier WWE pay-per-view, actually.
Right. Like they need something grand. Like if they really call themselves, okay, now they've been calling themselves the home of professional wrestling, right?
Yeah.
That's their tagline now. So I feel like they need to have something that like a hallowed ground, like you step on this mat, like this is the granddaddy of them all. Like, they need something like to make them feel big time.
Homecoming. Wrestle Home. It sounds like a old folks' home for wrestling.
No. It's like I like that. Maybe they should have like the Wrestle Cup. Like they have the Owen Hart Cup, right? They're gonna do that next year. Maybe like how it's called the World Cup.
Bro, Owen Hart Cup. Kevin Steen confirm.
Confirm, bro. That one, let's not even talk about that. I mean, once it's confirmed lah.
AEW Great Balls of Fire.
Is that one of the things that our chat said?
Yeah, Great Balls of Fire. Yeah.
Guys, please throw some names and maybe we can think about it and we talk about it in the next episode as well. Why
Absolutely. But yeah, there you go, I think they've really, really come a long way, and kudos to them. They've made it work. They've stayed the course. They've admitted their mistakes, i.e. sports-based entertainment, whatever the fuck they said. What, sports-based presentation? Like, okay, yeah, sure, fuck off. Wins and losses match, yeah, okay, fuck off. Like, Austin Gunn should be the number 1 contender then.
Oh my god, okay.
Right?
I think Austin Gunn should be the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, now I have like tons of names that I'm thinking of in my head, and I don't think I should think about it on air. Probably I sleep on it.
Okay. AEW in your house. AEW in Tokyo Dome.
Ooh, some interesting names there.
Bro, AEW in Tokyo Dome, freaking Dave Meltzer would have like, it's like his wet dream come true, yeah? Like all the stars will come out. Like 10-star match. Every match, because it's in the Tokyo Dome.
How about AEW Super League? Master League. The Masters.
The Master. That one sound like all old men. They got Sting, they whack Taz. Yeah, the Masters League. There you go.
Because if you're an elite level athlete, then you should be a master at it, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, but Masters is usually okay lah.
Golf, right?
Yeah,
Was it golf?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. You're right. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. Elite Kingdom. You just steal the kingdom from Wrestle Kingdom and then put on Elite, right?
Too much like Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
It has to be like the Elite Vaganza or like whatever lah.
Elitomania.
No lah, bro.
No, you know what it is, obviously. I know what the name is.
What?
Considering who is the top star in AEW, it needs to be Cody Mania. Roads to the top.
Oh my god. Roads to the top becomes their WrestleMania. Because got Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
Then got Victory Road. Then Roads to the top lah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it's like Brandy in a cage match.
AEW Road to the Top.
Oh God, no. Okay. So yeah, 1 year on. Shit, I can't actually wait for this Friday because SmackDown and Rampage are gonna stack their cards purposely, especially in that first and last half an hour, right? So they already announced SmackDown Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. That's probably going to be the main event. They'll probably throw some Edge and Seth Rollins shenanigans because that's the hottest feud. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
There's definitely going to be a Brock Lesnar appearance for sure.
So most likely they'll shove everything into that last half hour or the last 45 minutes to keep the momentum into the half an hour.
So my question is, Rampage is becoming more of like a B show or not like the lesser feuds. So I wonder who are they going to put, to combat them, because they really kind of exhausted a lot of their dream matches already, right?
Yeah. I don't know, but I think we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure they'll announce it on Dynamite. Actually,
I'm sure Dynamite's coming. I think there's a lot to look forward to, especially Monday Night Raw. There's going to be the continuation of the King of the Ring tournament.
Oh, can we very quickly talk about the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown?
Of course, sure.
I hate this year's version. The brackets are so small. What's the fucking point? You know what I mean? The whole idea of a tournament is to have certain wrestlers wrestle twice a night, right?
Yeah.
That has always been the idea of a tournament. This is so grueling. That's what made the King of the Ring work. Now, if you are creating brackets, and they've done this for the past few years, and I've never liked it, where the finals is so it's just like any other match. And plus, the winner doesn't get anything special. There's no number one contendership. There's no contract to pick a match, So it just...
I wish there was like a one night only tournament,
Yeah, I understand that for Saudi Mania that's not going to work because you want to get as many people there as possible to get everyone a payday right? But also how did they qualify? Why were they chosen? None of this was it seems like just the King of the Ring tournament has started. Ta-da! This is who it is. You have to accept it. I want more meat, to justify me giving a shit about this. It's this, and what was it on SmackDown? It was Carmella versus Liv Morgan for the millionth time. But now it's for the Queen's Crown qualification. I'm okay, yay.
And it lasted only a few minutes. And Liv Morgan was lost.
And it's the same fucking match we've seen for the past few weeks. So it's it means nothing to me. This, one
thing I would say, I trust AEW to hold a much better Owen Cup tournament than whatever WWE is doing.
Yep. Can you imagine Owen Cup tournament only applicable for Canadians?
But there's going to be a lot of Canadian wrestlers though. So
true, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho should be the commentator. Anyway, sorry. Sidetrack.
You know what I think? I think they should make the Owen Cup tournament a one night only pay-per-view.
Yeah.
A pay-per-view, and the tournament happens the entire pay-per-view.
And have people, and then you can run the story of, the age-old story of, this guy got through the first round, but he's so badly injured. Can he make it through the second round? Somehow he squeaked past the second round. Can he? Then you have those stories, right?
Can you imagine, the pay-per-view, right? And then they announce, and they make it like a charity thing, where they say the proceeds from a cut of the pay-per-view will go into the Owen Hart Foundation. That's what Mata would want all along, right?
Yes, absolutely. Gaddafi brought up a point which I wanted to mention as well. Nakamura had to give up his crown. He abdicated his crown in respect to the new King of the Ring. Did you see that on social media?
On SmackDown, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, on social media.
They even announced it on SmackDown, I think. Of course, the irony is he stole the fucking crown to begin with.
The one that should abdicate the crown is King Corbin, but I think he moved way on already.
Now he's too happy, bro. He's happy with Madcap Moss. Oh my god. I'm sorry, but that, now he's a joke character already. You know what I mean? Okay, the difference between poor Corbin is that at least it was funny, but there was a story to build from it. Now he's come to that point where he's not really funny. He's just he's it's almost as if I hate to say this. It's bad karma. But
Why?
Okay, you know how when people get older, they regress to their childhood thinking? Or it's almost they go back to what they used to do. They know, right?
Okay.
doesn't a lot of WWE and NXT feel like WWF superstars in the 80s?
Wow, that's an interesting comparison. Yeah.
And like like a character like Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss seems like it would fit right there in 80s wrestling, and that's it looks like what Vince is like regressing back to, like his old like habits of when the golden age.
But even there at the golden age, he was a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I guess.
I get what you mean. I feel like WWE as a whole, as like a promotion, is regressing back to that golden age, because for some reason they think that a PC culture world, that's the right kind of promotion to show off in terms of trying to get the biggest mainstream viewer. My problem is you're not good. Okay, wrestling can be universal, but wrestling, for it to be good, it can't appeal to everyone.
Yeah, sure.
That's just my opinion. Like, I feel like if you want to try to appeal to everyone, wrestling will become like America's Got Talent. So bland.
Yeah, but I mean successful.
Successful, yeah. But like, who do you know that is like, oh bro, I'm a diehard America's Got Talent fan?
Or American Idol, right? Yeah. No, I see what you mean.
Like to have that kind of fandom. Okay, I'll give you the best example. I think BTS is a good example. Okay, hear me out. Why BTS I think is so successful is that they are not appealing to the casual audience. They are really leaning into their fan base, and that actually builds up the fan base organically.
And it's a sustained fan base. Well, that's an interesting.
I feel WWE did that in the Attitude Era. They really lean into the audience, and now that's why all of us are audiences for life.
Yeah. So you watch it because it's cool. Now it's bland. It's not edgy anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, for example, here's another example. The hottest show on Netflix right now, Squid Game. Have you finished Squid Game, by the way?
Yes.
Good show. I don't think it's as amazing as a lot of people make it out to be. That's because I'm a long-time horror fan, so I see where all the influences come from. But as an aesthetic show, yeah, it's a good show. But it highlights the fact that our audiences are way more grown up than you think. And we can take bloody, sort of violent things. I know a lot of kids watch it too, even though it's not a show geared towards kids.
I think the problem is WWE tries to assume that the audience is not that smart, and they're not giving us enough credit.
Do you think it's that, or they have investors to, kowtow to?
I mean, that's clearly an influence. I mean, it's been an influence ever since they turned PG.
Yeah.
But you're right. When you talk about Squid Game, like they don't try to appeal to an audience. They just focus on creating the best show possible.
Yes.
And the audience came. Right. Have you heard about Ted Lasso, bro?
Yes. It's a show on Apple, right?
Yes.
I
show
don't.
on Apple.
I don't watch it though.
Okay, but so Ted Lasso is so funny because it's really the little show that could, it came from nothing. It was just a silly sketch idea by Jason Sudeikis, if you remember Jason Sudeikis. And it's about like American football coach, an NFL coach that got hired by a Premier League team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the premise is stupid, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like the hilarity and comedy that comes from it? So this guy is like a southern man, like very like got that southern charm, like howdy cowboy, that kind of shit. And
hey, do your southern thing again.
No, I'm not gonna try.
Do it. It was hilarious.
No. So can you imagine transplanting someone like that into a Premier League club, and then trying to win over the British players, the British fans who are like calling him wanker every single time. So like that. But the fact is, like, they didn't try to win any, or they didn't try to, because even the Premier League didn't want to give them funding, because they actually asked Premier League, can you give us licensing so that we can mention the name of your clubs? They didn't even want that, so they created their own fictional club.
Right.
And little by little, they got Emmy awards, and that's the most Emmy nominated show in all of all time.
Wow.
And like now Premier League want to join in, and like, okay, now season 3 they're gonna have Manchester, Liverpool, all their kids all can use.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you create the buzz with yourself so good that it's undeniable.
Well, it looks like, if anything, there have been steps forward. I mean, like every wrestling promotion, it seems like now the what's the buzzword, bro? What is the buzzword that you hear on Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Rampage?
Multiverse? No,
not multiverse, bro. Come on,
what?
You know what I'm talking about.
It?
Like, it is a phrase so profound that you will hear it crop up in promos, bro.
Trending?
No, bro.
What is it, bro?
What
shit.
shit?
What the hell is up with that? Yeah.
Apparently 2021 is the word of the year in the wrestling universe is shit. Because everyone's
it's not
using
even
it.
censored, huh?
Yeah,
it's not even
they're
censored anymore.
I think even freaking now WWE also. Oh shit! Didn't Seth make a joke about it on Instagram, Twitter? He's like, oh, so we are using that word now. Cool.
Yeah. I think they're really leaning into like, okay, they just discovered, okay, there is this one word that can still be PG, but we can still use it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's use it all the time.
And then everything, you shit, you dip shit, you dumb shit, you a carny piece of shit. Oh my god.
I don't know, man. I mean, once they start using fuck, then I know like all hands are loose.
Yeah, not quite yet. We're not there yet, huh? So there you go. That's the biggest takeaway from our chat today. What has changed the most in 2 years? Shit. With that being said, thank you so much for watching the podcast. We appreciate it. If you came in halfway, you missed anything, don't worry. We will upload the audio onto Spotify or Apple Podcasts and wherever else you get your podcast, so you can listen to it while you're working out and whatnot. Or if you want to watch the video again, it'll be on video on demand here on our channel. If you haven't already, do us a favor, please hit that subscribe button or hit like on this video. It really helps us out, and get your friends to share it. And yeah, if you know friends who are into pro wrestling, let them know about this podcast.
Yes, thank you so much everyone for supporting us and always interacting with us on our Insta stories and joining us every week. We hope to be here next week. Crown Jewel is coming.
Next week we will preview Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel happens like on a Thursday, so I guess they need to fly there, do their show, come back for SmackDown lah, huh? So that's why it's on this weird day. So next week we will preview it. Then it'll happen on like a Thursday or Friday, we'll see. And then we will do a review of it the following week, which is the 25th of October. So yeah, lots of wrestling to talk about. 25th of October, I might be back to the studio, like no longer working from home.
Are you?
I don't know. We haven't heard yet, but I think it's very likely. So I might have to watch, I might have to secretly watch pay-per-views from work now.
Then how are we going to be doing this podcast, bro?
I can come home and do it, right?
Oh, okay. So you just do it in the morning.
Yeah, podcast starts at 12. I'll be home before then.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, sounds good. But you know what? Whatever it is, we got to make sure this podcast still runs, so it's all good.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to talk about Hell in a Cell and Crown Jewel and all that stuff. But in the meantime, y'all have a great week ahead. Enjoy the wrestling. We know that WWE and AEW are ramping up to fight with each other, so that just means more good shit for us.
Shit.
It's like, wow, we can finally say shit. Okay. We out of here. It's Mr. Young.
And it's for in the building. Have a great week, okay?